Let's talk a bit about the UK, because we have seen a huge political shift now with Boris Johnson being the new Prime Minister. What are you expecting from him? Because he's clearly saying they're going to leave also without a deal.
Yeah, I hope that he realized the reality is that they got the best deal the UK can get, and hopefully they finally decide that this is the case and then move on instead of hoping that a hard Brexit would be better. It would be not better for the UK, but it would also not be better for Europe. But, you know, the UK can't expect that the EU is now changing on the last mile their position. So I think that's just reality. And if you are an elected politician, you have to face once in a while the reality and then to move on.
What do you think will be the worst case scenario coming from a hard Brexit then?
I think that's unpredictable. You know, the good thing is it will be not as bad as people anticipate. So, you know, we will muddle through somehow. You know, what we will do as a company, we will be well prepared to help our customers to get stuff moved, and then we will see what will happen. I think what has been negotiated between the UK and Europe is, I think, a reasonable solution for both. I think that should now happen. Or you have to ask the British citizens for a second vote, because, you know, nobody told them what the outcome might be at the beginning. But I'm not a British citizen, so that's their right to make that decision.
And let's look again at the question whether populists might actually hinder more integration in Europe, because clearly we have seen a change in the European Parliament, and it might be harder to find majority for more integration. How concerned are you about that?
So I think it's important for politicians as much as business people to explain why Europe is good, why diversity is good, and why immigration is actually positive and not a bad thing. And I do that when I travel around the world and explain that in our internal meetings. When I give town halls, I always talk about globalization. I talk about the opportunities of digitalization. I talk about, you know, the success of Europe, because, you know, if you take the bottom line of Europe, it has been a tremendous success in the last 75 years. I feel very proud of that, and I share that, and I explain why I feel proud about that, because it is a fantastic place to live, and we have taken Europe to a such higher level of wealth, connection, and I think that is what politicians should do. You have to explain that. It's not obvious for everybody, because we always compare just what our neighbor has and not what has been the case 5, 10, 20, 30 years ago. And I think that's the role of leadership, being in political or in business roles.